Hey everyone,
Stop sharing my
how's it
screen.
going? Awesome to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll dive right into the demo.
Awesome. Take it away.
Cool. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. So yeah, super excited to be here and to give you guys a tour of AssetMule. Before we dive in, just a very quick, what is AssetMule and how does it help accelerate sales cycles? So AssetMule is essentially a platform for creating personalized, interactive, and trackable sales assets. Because these assets are personalized and interactive, we've seen them increase engagement with buyers by upwards of 90% versus static PDFs, really helping turn prospects into champions and drive the sales process forward. And because they're trackable, they deliver sales folks really incredible insights on who's engaging with their assets so that they can prioritize the right accounts, but also how they're engaging with those assets and what's interesting them, right? What's resonating with them, so that they can best move these deals forward. Best thing of all these sales assets can be created in minutes and without any designers or developers. So super easy for a product marketer or a sales rep to create their own assets. So that's the quick spiel on AssetMule, but let's dive right in. And what I'll show you today is how to build a couple of templates in AssetMule, starting with our own sort of base templates that you can build from. I'll show you how to create your own custom templates as well. And then I'll show you how you can then use those templates to create personalized assets that you can then share with prospects and track engagement. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is our template library at AssetMule. And you'll see a bunch of templates that you can build from the get-go. So one-pagers and case studies and competitive comparison pages, decks, proposals, you name it. Today, I'll start by showing you how to build from one of our one-pagers with videos. But I will then also show you how to create your own custom template. So this is the one-pager with video. And the first thing that you'll want to do here is probably add your own brand colors and fonts to this template. And you'll see I've already done that. We call that a theme. I've done that for AssetMule. But for creating your own theme, we make it super simple. Again, no need for any designers. All you have to do is actually put in your website URL. So for instance, let's say I'm LinkedIn. I can put in linkedin.com. And just in a matter of seconds, I can see LinkedIn's colors applied to this template. So really easy to get it on brand. But for this demo, I'm going to use the AssetMule theme, and I'm going to go through as if I'm building a template for AssetMule. Next thing I want to do is probably add my content to the template, right, to make it my own. So starting with logos, I can add my company logo here. I can easily upload it from my drive. But again, especially for prospect and customer logos, instead of having to go to Google, find that logo, download it, upload it, format it, and all that crazy stuff, all you have to do is just put in your website URL, and we'll fetch logos for you. And same thing goes again, I'll give you the example of LinkedIn here. If I put linkedin.com, I get a bunch of logos I can choose from. Continuing down the template, I can replace my placeholder copy over here with my own copy. I can add my video in here, a demo video or something like that, putting in a Loom or YouTube video or one of these a link from one of these supported platforms. But AssetMule also has this really interesting concept that we call snippets, where as you're building out your templates, you can save all these micro bits of content as snippets that you can pull from for the future. And the benefit here is you can really speed up the process of building these templates, but also as you're creating assets, you can swap things in and out and personalize them with pre-approved, pre-existing content. So for instance, with this sort of value statement here, I can open up my snippet library, maybe filter by positioning statements, and pull in the one that I want to use. For the demo video, I can pull in, up my demo video sort of gallery and pull in the one that I want to use. And just one more example here, customer logos, I can go ahead and maybe I have logos organized by different industry. I can pull the one that I want to use. And you can see just how quickly you can start building out your template. But as I mentioned, you don't have to just rely on our templates. You can go and create your own custom templates. So let me show you how that works. So on the templates page, I can click Create Template. And now I can start with a blank canvas here, and I can start building my own custom template. And I do this by starting with a column, so or a section. I'm going to add a 1-column section here, and maybe I'll add my brand colors to start here. And then these icons that you see here all represent what we call pre-designed components. So things such as headers and quotes and images and videos that you can pull into the canvas and start populating with your content. So for instance, I can put that personalized logo, that logo for logo set up, and again, add the AssetMule logo over here. And in this case, I'm actually going to leave this one blank so that anybody who wants to use this template can put their prospect's logo in there. Next, I may want to add another section, and this time I want to do a header and a subhead, and I want to center it and add sort of my main value prop here. Now, I know we're doing a Storylane GTM day, so I want to show you something really cool where you can actually add an embed code component here and add your Storylane demo into your asset. So, you can even save a full library of many different Storylane demos and pull in the right one based on the use case that you want to show this particular prospect, right? And right in your asset, instead of a static image or even a demo video, you can have an interactive Storylane demo here. Now, just to sort of build this out really quickly and just show you how quickly you can pull these things together, I'm going to pull in the logos, and then I'll maybe pull in some pricing information here. And again, I can populate this stuff with content, but again, if I've saved different pricing plans, I can just pull it in very easily. And I'll do one last one here, and then we'll go ahead and show how to share this thing. Another example of the embed code component is you can pull in your Calendly or Chili Piper or HubSpot calendar, again, so that your prospect can actually book a meeting with your sales team directly from the asset. So again, just showing you how quickly and without any design skills or resources, I can pull up this asset, pull this together, save it as a template for my sales team to use, and they can sort of personalize it and send it out and track it. So let's show that final step here. So if I were a salesperson, let's say I'm a salesperson at AssetMule, I can come into my AssetMule account. I can look at all the templates that I have access to from my team, and I can choose, let's say in this case, I want to build a template or an asset using the AssetMule interactive one-pager. I can create an asset from that template. And because my team members, maybe my product marketer has already built this out mostly for me, all the content's in here for me to use, but maybe I can do some last mile personalization. So I can put in my prospect's logo in here. As I showed previously, let's say I'm building this for Storylane, that's my prospect. I can put storylane.io in here to get a bunch of logos and choose the right one. Maybe there's some placeholder copy for me to replace in here. So instead of prospect, I put Storylane in here. And then coming back to that concept of snippets, maybe this quote here, it's a great quote, but maybe it's not a great quote for my particular prospect, right? Maybe this is more for a sales team. I'm selling to a product marketer. So I can pull up that snippet library of quotes, maybe filter by product marketing, and choose a much better quote for the specific use case or persona that I'm selling to. And then now that this looks good, I can go ahead and give this a name. So let's call it AssetMule for Storylane. I can save the asset, and then now I can grab a link to share with the prospect and track when they engage with the asset. So now let's pretend I'm the prospect, and I received an email with this link to this asset. So I'm going to load it up here, and this is what they'll see when it loads up. They'll see that personalized Storylane AssetMule for Storylane assets with the interactive product demo that they can step through really to get a feel for what AssetMule is and how it's going to add value for me. They can go through here and they can see that personalized quote that I swapped in here. And then finally, they can, access my calendar and book a meeting with me, or, even click a book a meeting button to pull up Calendly directly and book a meeting with me. And as I mentioned, all of these actions are being tracked by AssetMule. So what the salesperson will receive is in their inbox, they'll receive an email notification like this that says, hey, somebody just viewed your asset, AssetMule for Storylane assets. So there's some interest, there's some intrigue there. But also in AssetMule, we'll give you a full timeline of all the actions that they took on the page. So they viewed the asset, then they clicked on that embed in the third section, first column. So that was the interactive product demo. Then they clicked on the embed in the 16th section, first column. That was the calendar widget. And then finally, they clicked on the book a meeting button. And again, these insights are incredibly powerful. If you think about the old world of sending these static, generic PDFs, maybe that nobody even opened, right? But even if they did, you never even knew if they did, right? Compared to being able to see that they actually engaged with your assets and what they did on the page, you can really determine which accounts to prioritize based on who's showing those buying signals, but also how best to follow up with them. Maybe they checked out that Storylane demo, and that shows that they're interested in scheduling a real demo, or maybe you should follow up with a couple of different examples of workflows and use cases, sending some other Storylane demos. So that's the quick walkthrough of AssetMule, and again, how you can really engage your buyers and accelerate your sales cycles with personalized interactive sales assets. In terms of if this is something that you want to use, obviously you're going to receive our Storylane demo that you can check out. But also, if you go to assetmule.ai, we have a free version of the product, a forever free version, and you can sign up, give AssetMule a go, and we'd love to hear how you're using it and help you in any way we can. So that's AssetMule, and happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Amazing. We do have one audience question, but we have a little bit of extra time because you were so efficient. Yeah. So I want to serve you one question before we move to the audience. I'm curious if you can describe like the dream scenario of how a team might use this, and like your best customer, what are the outcomes that they're driving with AssetMule?
Great question. So I would say the sort of ideal customer for us is usually an earlier stage startup, let's say Series A and earlier, where you maybe have one product marketer on the team, no design resources, and a growing sales team. Maybe they just raised their Series A, right? And the sales team is growing, but the marketing and the design resources are really small, right? And they're just being overwhelmed with the amount of requests for sales assets. So that's where AssetMule really provides enormous value, because instead of having to get an outsourced designer that's going to cost maybe $1,000 per asset and take weeks to deliver these more generic static PDFs, it's a more dynamic sort of collaboration between that product marketer, where they're able to spin up these templates, and then salespeople can actually personalize and self-serve from there. So I would say the benefits that they're experiencing is sort of the cost savings in terms of not having to outsource design, the time and flexibility in building these personalized assets, and then just the impact that a more personalized and engaging experience that a buyer gets from these personalized assets has on driving engagement and speeding up sales cycles, increasing win rates, and so on.
Love that. Okay, Jackson, what's our question from the audience?
Yeah, so I'm seeing this question from Carlea. I'm also going to add my spin on it as a salesperson. So Carlea asked, in your example of the pricing template, if I have that living on my website, would it not? What would be the value of not just sending that link to the specific page on the site? So for me as a salesperson, I see the added benefit of the interactivity of the AssetMule demo, AssetMule link, better branding, more customization, snippets, better engagement data, but also you have to take them from the email into another page. So what is the added benefit of not just loading up your follow-up email with a lot of hyperlinks and PDFs and attaching? Like, what would you say to the salesperson that's kind of on the fence about transitioning to this other type of sales asset?
A really good question, actually. The first time I've heard that one. But specifically, I'll say, first of all, there's a template that you could use here where you could actually, it's a single page template where you have a little bit of an intro, and then you can actually aggregate a bunch of links. And some of these can be AssetMule assets. Some of these can be links to your case studies on your website. Some of them can be links to your Zoom recording from the demo that you did with them. And you can build these out with the prospect as you're proceeding down the sales process, right? So this sort of answers that question of maybe a single link, a single page that you can send your prospect, and then aggregate all the information that they want. But in terms of like stuff on your website, your stuff on your website is probably a little bit more generic, right? And again, is maybe useful. So maybe you do want to include it as a couple of the links on this what we call an asset hub asset. But the sort of example that I shared with you allows you to really personalize it specifically for that prospect. You could put like a personalized demo video in there, or swap in the right quotes or the right stats or the right messaging and value props, right, for that particular prospect. And I think that would be the value over, let's say, a page on your website, which might speak to a persona, but not to that specific buyer, maybe what you discovered in that discovery call or the conversations that you've had with them so far. But again, using this template, you can sort of mix and match, right? Which is really, really useful.